when now you get into your section D, so when you're on your charts and you're getting into your, on the bottom here, you'll see the overall resiliency, and then you'd have that from this physical, from the C, right, what you've done. And then your D now gets into pupil. So pupil size, small, normal, or large. And when you're looking at pupils, you'll see here that, like, this pupil, obviously, is very, very tiny. And look at how big this pupil gets.
Could it be just the lighting in the room when they took the picture?
Well, it can, but we're still looking at that. Like, you're still noticing that, because a normal eye should just be a normal size. Like, because you've taken a flash, like these people had flash in their eye, it will maybe take a second to refocus. But a normal eye should not be really so big, and it shouldn't be so little. So what you're going to do is just mark it down so that you can see, like, this looks like a normal, this is big, normal, pretty much normal. This one here is getting a little big, but now here's too a little big, little big, yeah. And then
too small.
Yeah, too small. Too small, yeah. And then now these get a little too big.
That one
these ones here aren't too bad. These I'd probably stick. This one here, slightly. I might even write on it saying slightly big. But you can start seeing too big. Like, too big is too big.
It's funny how what is it that some have that looks like this perfect line? Others look like it's all blended together, like at the pupil, like.
So what is that telling us?
That
their digestive ring goes right into their pupil.
Correct. Yep, that's right. Yep.
That's what this is.
That is. Yep.
Okay. And this one, the digestive ring, it's a good digestive ring there.
Yes.
And it's almost perfect because it's a good shape and it doesn't go into the pupil.
That's right.
So when the digestive ring goes, like this one too, goes in, and that one.
That's right.
This one's pretty good. Doesn't really look like it goes in there.
No, that's right. Even though it's too small.
Yeah.
Now, why this matters also is too small or too big. If you notice then from here to here for the iris color, what that would mean is the fibers are all stretched to make that little tiny pupil. So if I had a lacuna, the lacuna, when this eye is just right, is actually bigger than what it is. Right? Because the fibers on this now are squished outwards, which means these lines are actually bigger than they should be. Because if you think about it, right? So if I have fibers and they go together or they go apart, it changes my holes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that is why, too, I would care what size pupil it is. Because let's say next time you look and all of a sudden you go, oh, something changed. But did the pupil change? Like, because that's where some people were getting misinformed too, is because they thought something changed and it wasn't. The pupil just had changed. Like, now their eye wasn't dilated.
Right.
I mean, dilated eyes could be medication that they're on. It could be drugs that they're taking, or alcohol.
Yeah, if you do coke, your pupils are like as big as your whole pupil is like your.
Does Tylenol affect that even too?
Some drugs.
Yeah.
Some drugs.
Opiates pin you. Opiates make it, like heroin and morphine and all the opiates. They pin your pupils. They go pin.
Oh,
like that.
Like tiny,
like little pin.
Now, some of these people, it's just because they cannot handle light coming in, and their pupils are trying to protect them, right? So the pupils are. But if you're looking at somebody in real life and their pupils are totally different, something's going wrong.
Yeah, they're on speed.
Now, the other thing that happens sometimes is a pupil. What will happen is as you're looking at them, it looks like it has a heartbeat.
They fluctuate.
Yeah, they start, which actually isn't normal either.
Focusing, though, isn't it?
Well, it could be, or possibly they have a circulation issue, a heart issue. And so if somebody has a pupil that is going in and out and in and out, I might ask them, have you had your blood pressure taken? Like, have you noticed?
So, like, my grandma has really high blood pressure, so would hers...
It would be interesting if it did.
I'll check that out.
Well, it might not, though, because she's on medication for it, so it might have it balanced out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Now, what you're really then going to look at is on your chart here now, the pupil tonus, elliptical and flattening. And what you're going to notice is in your guys' book, okay, you're going to see pages that have the elliptical that makes it look like an egg, right? So the different looking pupils is what we're looking at. And then the other one is a flattening, which makes it look like an 8-ball. You know, like the 8-ball in playing pool.
Yeah.
And so there's actually somewhere that's flat. And an eye can have more than one. Okay, they can have more than one flattening on them. And what you'll see is each flattening. Now, if you take this and you look at where the flattening is, like in a person's eye. So if somebody has a pupil, now see how this here,
A little bit flat.
it goes flat. Yeah, right. It's not gonna. My pen doesn't want to draw. It goes flat here. There's actually a little bit one here, and that would be it. Now this person's eye, I have to make sure I have it proper. So this is my 12 o'clock. This is the direction of this eye. So what I'm looking at then is a flattening pretty much at 3 o'clock, which would be number 13. Now again, depending if this was a right eye or left eye, okay? So 13, if this is then the person's right eye that has the flattening, then what it says is this person also has a bit of restriction to breathing, possible C1, C5 vertebrae. So some issues in their C1, C5. Now, where that would matter, of course, is if this person has asthma possibly or any kind of respiratory issues. Also, too, in the C1, C5, where I'd really care about is if they've ever had a rear end, like, you know, a car accident, and they were rear-ended, because then your C1, C5 gets affected.
Well, interesting, because Mitch's C4 and C5 are herniated, so I'm going to look and see if he's got flat
So do
marks in
the
his eyes.
pupils change then, or pupils are always the same too?
Over the years, that I don't know, because I don't have enough proof of that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, they can change from injury, because I know a fellow that got a really bad smack in the head and his pupil changed.
Well, and you've seen my operation, right? Like my eye has that operation, and I'll just show it again, right? So the pupil here is egg-shaped, right? So if you look at this pupil, because what they did on my eye is, actually it was interesting, Nick's dad just had his cataract removed and that's what they did to mine. But mine, they literally cut this open, flipped it back, took out the lens, and then stitched me up. I had stitches in here. So this white is actually scar tissue. This piece here that is black was the very last stitch that they took out, and I actually still remember it. He took it out and it ripped out the fiber with it. Yeah. Well, in a weird way. You could feel it and you could hear it. Yeah, it was kind of gross. Anyways, it didn't bleed or anything, but so if somebody was looking at my eye, one, they'd say, you know, like if somebody didn't ask me first if I had injury done to this eye, they would think that I had brain cancer, right?
I was gonna say,
and also if you look up the egg shape, right, like if we go back to our page,
impending cerebral hemorrhaging or clotting,
yes,
coma or paralysis.
Yeah,
you're gonna have a
yes,
stroke.
I'm gonna be in trouble really soon, and I have cholesterol like you wouldn't believe, which is scar tissue. Right? So somebody would look at me and go, oh my goodness, I think you better go to the doctor now. You know? But, so that's where you have to be careful, because you got to know what's real and what isn't real. Because this isn't me. This is surgery. Mm-hmm. So, it isn't actually going to happen.
You weren't born with that.
No, wasn't born with that. No, because it, you know, of course, it's too bad I didn't have pictures.
Pre-surgery.
They had pictures. I should have.
Pre-surgery.
Yeah, my doctor doesn't. He's retired, so. But I don't know if they actually have pre-surgery. That would be funky. I wonder if I could get that, because I was 12 when I, just about 12.
Yeah, they incinerate stuff after so many years.
Okay, so now what you would do is, depending on the person's information, you would write down what you found elliptical or flattening on that. And if you wanted to, you could just write, elliptical, you could do 1, or in my case, with that egg-shaped
13.
one.
Or no, it was
6 or something.
6.
Yeah, more the 6, yeah. Then you could just put 6, and then you could go refer back to it later too. And that. Okay, so questions on pupils? That's it. That's all you're doing. You're just checking each eye to make sure if
And you just write the number down in here.
You can. Yeah, you can just write the number down. Yeah. And if there's more than one, there's just more than one number then written. All right. So the next step, so you've done part A, you've done part B, you've done part C, now you've just learned part D. So now we're going to learn E. Okay? And E now is all the knowledge that you guys learned in level 1 is now on here. Okay? So any marks that we have learned, meaning flex, lacunas, rarifications, transverse, any of the things that we've learned in level 1 for structural signs now matters. And so what you're going to do is, these pages are done up, so you have right eye, left eye, but they're done in systems, so digestive, integument, skeletal, lymph, immune, circulatory, all the systems, and all of the organs inside. And then what you're going to notice is when you look at your Iridology Simplified Research chart, is so right eye, left eye, as if you were holding it up to the client. So this is their right eye, their left eye, okay? And now, if you look, what you're going to notice with the chart is that the top of the head, so your brain, okay, top of the head, starts here, and as you move down, the lower body, so eyes, ears, sinuses, nose, lungs, heart, throat, back, liver, kidneys. So it goes from the top of your head to the bottom of your torso, okay, both sides, and they mirror each other. So then they're just kind of split. Other than you only have a spleen on one side of your body, and you only have like your liver covers, mostly on the right-hand side, only have a gallbladder on the right. So you're going to notice there's only one, if it really is only on half your body. So just like you guys might have done in reflexology, or in that you just split the body in half, and same thing, you split the body in half. So this is the left side of the body, this is the right side of the body, and what's on either side. And of course, 99.9% of us have an eye on either side, like we have ears on either side. So you're noticing then how it splits. Autonomic zone is right here between P2 and C1, okay, your digestive wreath on both eyes. And the inside is the digestive, outside then is all the different parts of the organs. And then the outside here, 2 rings you're going to see are getting into lymphatic, is the kind of orange, the light colored orange one, and skin is the outer orange one. Okay, so other than that, all the other organs are inside there. Okay, so what we would do if we took a person's eye, and we're going to take this student's eyes from the past. Okay, so I'm going to divide this person's up into the clock. So we'd have noon, 3, 6, 9, right? So then if I divide it again, it'd be 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, 11, right? Okay, so in here, what I always start with first is between 12 and 1, and I start looking between 12 and 1. And in this person's eye, there actually isn't anything between 12 and 1. There's nothing. So I just ignore it because it doesn't matter. And what I would do, though, is if there was, I would now look between 12 and 1 and see what's there. And then I would go to my page. So let's just look down. So now between the next one would be 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock. There actually is a mark here. Just right here at that.
Is that the left or the right eye?
This one here is that person's left. Yeah. So there is a mark right here. Now, if we go look at our chart between 1 o'clock and 2, I'm going to look at it, and it's really, really close to ear. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to go to my chart, okay, and of that person, and I'm going to go look up ear, which is under senses, okay, and I'm going to go put a mark on the left, one mark on the left under ears, and I'm going to mark it because they have one mark on the left ear area.
Oh, I see. You're only putting marks on here if you have.
Only if they have it. Yeah, you're only going to put it on here if they have it. And then as I come down, so I'm just going to erase this a little bit so you guys can see easier in there, is now there's also a mark here too. There's right here there was a mark that now it's just on about 2 o'clock, so I'm going to go look at my 2 o'clock, and it's into lung. That's right. And so then I'm going to go back to my paper, go look it up. Lung is under respiratory, and I'm going to put one mark under lung for respiratory. Okay? And then as I now look at the eye again, and I'm coming down. Now, they don't really have anything, because this is on the inside of the digestive. If it's on the inside of the digestive, I'm not going to care about it. It's on the outside that I'm going to care about. So they got a mark here. They got a big one here. Okay, so one at 5 o'clock and about 5:30. So I'm going to look back at the eye. So 5 o'clock. Now what we got is ovaries. Okay. And then 5:30, I'm not going to worry about because it's white on my chart, so I'm not going to worry as much about that one. Now, color matters.
It's all to do with the same stuff.
On the Bernard Jensen. Okay. So with it, now what also matters is the color. Okay. So I'm going to go back to my chart, and I'm going to go back to ovaries here, and there's a big mark here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put black. It's a black mark. Okay, so meaning to me, pay attention a little bit more to it, to that organ. Now, the black, if we go back into our colors, what we're going to do then is because this person has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Would that be a mark as well, or is that just
It's on the inside of the digestive,
right,
so I'm not going to worry about that one. But what I will be doing
Why don't we worry about them if they're in the inside of the digestive room?
Because they're two different, it's pulmonary zone, so it's all about the digestive stuff. And we're not going to go into that much detail for digestion.
Okay.
We're going to stay in systems instead of just focusing on digestion. So on here, under digestion, under liver, I'm actually going to put 7 marks under liver, and right beside it, I'm just going to kind of put here color.
Because it's all color, so you put it in your
It's all color, yeah. And then if I wanted to look at this person's, also their right eye, right? If I was going to go look at their right eye, now their right eye has a tiny one there, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, also 7. And so liver here is going to have 7 also because of color.